What's up, everybody? We're in. We're in. Welcome to the stream. Peter's here today for the stream. It's gonna be a fun one. Got some Collins. Peter, should be another fun day. How you doing on this Saturday afternoon?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Excited for this. This has been a lot of fun the past couple of times. Theoretically, I think we can do this every live stream just because it's pretty easy to set up, and now we kind of have a feel for it as well. But yeah, you guys seem to enjoy this a lot as well, and you guys are having a good time calling in. So we're gonna keep it going. We might as well keep it going, right? So yeah, make sure to give your opinions, leave your comments down below as well. Stay respectful, don't swear. That's one ground rule that we got to go over this one more time because it did happen last time. It wasn't a big deal, it didn't wasn't the end of the world, but at the same time we want to keep it clean over here. Just want to have some respective conversations going back and forth, and we've managed to do that the past couple of times. So shout out to you guys. Shout out to each and every one of you that is in here right now. We're going to try to get to each and every one of your calls. We'll probably go for like 45 minutes to an hour here. But yeah, let's go. Should we get started, Nick?
Yeah, in a couple seconds.
All right.
Yeah, like you said, the Jays are kind of in a rough spot, and the news has been a bit wild. What's up, Shane? What's up, James? But at least we get to vent and rant about it with each other as we're all kind of struggling through this, whatever you would call the start of this, I guess off season so far, which has been a pretty rough go here. But yeah, I'm
Yeah.
good. I'm assuming you have one guy here already.
Yeah, we got a couple right now, but just a reminder for those of you that may be new to this sort of setup that we got going over here. So the 42 people that are in here, make sure to text your name and number to the number that you see that is over my head, to the number that you see that is in the pinned comment as
Yep.
well. So yeah, text your info to that number, and I'll make sure to give you guys a call. And when you guys are done with your thoughts, you guys hang up. I don't want to hang up because when I do, you see your numbers on the screen, and that's not good.
Your number
It's
is
fine
blurred
if you
anyway.
leak.
It,
It's
it's
fine
blurred
if you
anyway.
leak my number. It's a little too far gone for that, but I don't want your guys' numbers to get leaked out there. So
Google
just
Meets
hang up
blurs them
when you
anyway.
when
But
you
yeah, do it
finish your
anyway.
thoughts.
Google
Right?
Meets blurs it anyway now, which we did learn, which
Does
is
it?
it.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well,
it gives the
just to be
first.
safe,
But yeah, do it anyway.
just to be safe.
What's up,
Yeah.
Bob?
So we're gonna start with
Let's
Shane,
do it up.
one of our most loyal listeners and a longtime member as well. So Shane, be on standby. I know you love this. Shane, one of the deepest voices that I've ever heard personally. So great to hear from you, Shane, at all times. So I'm giving you a call right now. Be on standby.
We're getting it going, and it's gonna be a
Getting it going, man.
should be a
Getting
fun
it
one.
going.
Hopefully, we get all you guys in here.
What's up,
What's
Shane?
going
How you
on?
doing?
I'm doing great. How are you guys doing?
Doing
Doing
good,
good,
Shane.
man. What's up?
Not much, man. Before my question though, I just gotta point it out, Nick.
Yep.
What's going on with that hairstyle, brother?
Haircut yesterday, bro. Haircut yesterday.
You're rocking it with pride, man. That's all that matters. Anyway,
Exactly.
the question is, what guy on the team from last year they're still under contract do you see not being on next year's team?
Not under contract. Okay, you go for that, Peter.
That's a good question. Not under contract. You mean?
I must have misspoke. What guys do you see still under contract
Under contract.
from
That makes
last
a lot more
year
sense.
not being on the team next year?
It makes a lot more sense.
Um,
Hmm.
I'm gonna have to go with
Don't go Vlad.
Santiago Espinal, unfortunately, and I don't think they're going to DFA him. I still think he's a fairly valuable player, but there's just a logjam in the middle infield right there, and just in the infield in general. I think Davis Schneider is a guy that can get a full-time role starting next year. I think Aurelvis Martinez is going to have a say as well later on in the year. So I don't know. I'm going with Espinal. I think he's going to have some value on the trade market, especially after his strong performances down the stretch of the season. So I'm going to go with him. And I could see a world where he does get traded for maybe an arm or an outfielder or something of that nature.
I'd go with the same one. I think I have to go with Espinal as well.
I was thinking that'd probably be the one you guys went with because that's the one I'm thinking as well, with all the guys that are coming up all playing short third, second base. And really, when you think about it, when we got him, I think we only gave up, a couple of weeks of Steve Pierce for him. So he's been a major win as far as it goes, like acquiring assets and now getting rid of something. So thanks for the answer, boys. I'll hang up now and I'll listen to the rest.
Take it easy.
Thanks, Shane. Appreciate it. Might get you on later too as well if we don't have many callers. But yeah, I mean that was a win-win for both teams. Steve Pierce won World Series MVP for the Boston Red Sox,
he did.
and
Playoff player.
Espinal has been a very valuable contributor over the past couple of years here. Just a message to someone that just called me from Surrey, BC. I mean, I assume you're calling for this live stream right here. Don't call me. Just text me your information, and I will call you to get you involved in the live stream. But yeah, very good question there by Shane. I think Espinal is probably the guy that is going to go. And look, he was good down the stretch. I don't know if the Jays would have made the playoffs had it not been for some of his clutch hits and some of his performances amidst some Blue Jays injuries. So yeah, shout out to him. I think he could have a bounce back season next year if he is still part of the Blue Jays. But I think some other teams might benefit from him being an everyday player. Maybe like a weaker team like Detroit or like one of those bottom feeder teams. He could definitely be an everyday guy for them and develop into a better player and someone that is controllable as well. So he doesn't have great value, but he doesn't have no value either. So it wouldn't make sense to DFA him and not get anything in return, Nick.
Yeah, I think Espinal is the one. I don't know who else we would trade. Maybe like a hit. I don't really know anyone else. I mean, Biggio maybe once thought that, not anymore. Biggio's probably going to stay for at least the foreseeable future. So.
Maybe Trevor Richards.
Yeah,
could be another guy.
Maybe Alek Manoah. Maybe Alek Manoah will be.
No. That would just be stupid. That would just be stupid if the Blue Jays did that.
Love the flute intro.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ryan. Jays being a far better position under better leadership. You could definitely make that argument there. Address the hitting. Yeah, hitting's horrible. Kiermaier, Belt, and Hicks are good as gone. Most likely, yeah. I guess the highest chance out of those guys would be Hicks, or probably Kiermaier actually, because I think Hicks is probably dipping out. But who knows?
Got another caller here, Ryan. It's called both times. You want to give him a call, Nick?
Yeah. Let's get him in.
Let's go. All right, Ryan, be on standby. I'm going to give you a call right now. Yeah, guys, just make sure to hang up once you are finished with your questions. Nick, I saw the picture kind of get a little bit messed up there. Just am I pinned?
It's happened every stream.
Does it happen?
It's because when people join, the thing gets messed up. I'm gonna
okay,
work
yeah,
on
I'm just I was confused.
Yeah, no, you're good. I'll move you back quick.
That's on us. Sorry about that.
We'll figure it.
Guys.
It's fine.
Sorry about that. What's up, Ryan? How you doing, man?
Hey, how you guys doing?
Not too bad,
Doing
Ryan.
good,
Not too
man.
bad.
What's up?
All right. So my two questions for today is, what do you think of a guy that most people haven't heard of named Rafael Lantigua maybe coming up and maybe like in a shot in spring training and, maybe playing the outfield? And out of all the free agents, who do you think will come back and what free agents would you personally like to get?
I'll answer the second part. Peter, you can go ahead and answer the first because I'm not too familiar with who that is.
I mean, I'm not too familiar with Lantigua either. I think he's a middle infielder, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, he hit I think he hit near 300. He's a very good player, I promise. Like his stats, I think it's like over 880 OPS around there. OPS, sorry.
In double A ball? Double A ball?
No, triple A. Very good
Triple
player. Most people haven't even heard of him. That's the worst part. And this dude's very good.
I've heard of him for sure.
Okay,
but we were just talking about the logjam in the infield with Shane just a couple of moments ago, and yeah, there's a ton of options, but I think he's definitely someone that you want to keep track of. And there was he's escaping me right now. The shortstop who's very good, Leo Jimenez. Leo Jimenez is another guy. Yeah, so there's just so many options in the middle infield. I mean, Damiano Palmigiani is tearing up the Arizona Fall League right now. So you have all these infield prospects for the Blue Jays just tearing the cover off the ball, and they look like they could be potential major leaguers. But there's a pecking order. I think Davis Schneider has to get his playing time next year just because you got to see if he can get hot again. He carried the entire offense when he got hot, and if you can catch that lightning in a bottle again, I think you got to roll with Davis Schneider. So I think he has to get a chance. Biggio is going to get a chance as well. Obviously, we know Bo is not going anywhere when it comes to shortstop. So, yeah, maybe there's an opening in the outfield, but when it comes to pecking order, I would probably lean more towards Addison Barger or Relvis Martinez getting the call before Rafael Lantuiga. But it's a good question for sure. That it's never bad to have that many options down there in the minor leagues, but I just don't know where he fits on this current roster.
I agree.
Yeah.
Wait, I have one more question if you don't mind.
Go for it.
What do you think of a guy like Yasser Zuleta? So basically what happened is this dude went down to the Florida Complex League, so I followed him all year, right? He had, what was it? His walks per 9 were at like a 7.7. I know he lowered it to like a 6.4. Still really high, obviously, but what's your opinion on a guy like that? And, super hyped, and then now it's like, no one even wants to talk about him.
Go ahead.
Yeah, he's a classic case of a prospect falling off a little bit. I think he'll hopefully get back to it. We spoke about this a little bit off camera. I just don't know. I'm sure he'll get a chance eventually, but he doesn't excite me too much right now. He kind of, had walk issues. He has some other stuff. His ERA hasn't been good in the minors at all, so he might be a case of hopefully he figures it out eventually, but I don't think he's going to be an impact player for the Jays this season.
Yeah. He's a lot like Nate Pearson for me as well. Just all the stuff in the world, just can't put it together. Can't really stay healthy either. Zulueta's battled some injuries, so he's getting up there in age too when it comes to talking about prospects. I think he's going to be 26 next year. So I think next year could be a make it or break a year for him. Obviously, he was at the Futures game. He's one of the brighter prospects in the Blue Jays organization. He's still in the top 10. So he's got a chance to be special just because of that stuff that he possesses. But same thing with him. I mean, the bullpen is one of the biggest strengths of this ball club. Where does he fit? He's on the 40-man roster. I'm not sure if he's Rule 5 eligible. So I'm not sure if the Blue Jays have to keep him on there or what the implications are. But again, just no fit for him on this team right now. He's got to be better if he wants any chance of making the team.
I could definitely see if he improves and develops enough, I could maybe see him getting over Richards, but like that's the only guy. But then again, Richards is like, the strikeouts, what is it, 14 per 9? So, it's still tough to beat a guy like that. But like I said, if you can get his development right and his stuff right, I think you could maybe get a shot over Richards, but that's like it. So, yeah.
Yeah, Nick, you want to answer that question about the free agents, who to bring back?
The only one for me is Jordan Hicks. I can't really think about anyone else there. Kiermaier's probably gone, and I need some more power. Brendan Belt's going to retire most likely. Matt Chapman. Matt Chapman, maybe. I
don't see Chapman, though. I can't see it.
Yeah, he's probably going to cost too much, and I don't think the Jays are going to go for that. So I think the only realistic one is Hicks, and there's some rumblings that he doesn't want to come back because of various things. So I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. We probably don't retain any of them, to be honest with you. Maybe Hyun-Jin Ryu out there if we can't find, or if they're not confident with Manoah or something. But I don't know. That's my answer to that one.
All right, boys. Have a good day. God bless, guys.
Thanks, Rod. See you, man.
All right, guys.
Go ahead, Peter. Make sure to give me a text. Shoot me a text with your name and number. The number that you see over my head over there.
Get in?
We're not getting any. I mean, this. You guys want this to keep going, but if there's only 2 texters, I mean, what are we doing right here?
A lot of people.
It's been Shane and Ryan.
A lot of people chatting. A lot of people chatting. Nick, do you think the Dodgers would be up for a big trade? With us? I'm not entirely sure. We have a lot of people hating on the Jays. I think Witt may stay. I think Witt is probably the one who's least likely to stay. I think he's definitely going to go to somewhere else. I see the White Sox for Witt. Successful teams are built on good players like Espinal, Biggio, Merrifield, and a couple of I can't tell if you're being serious. I think it's a joke. I think it is a joke. Now, Peter, we can. I know you weren't here for today's video, so while we wait for potential calls, if you do want to get in, press a number. We can discuss some stuff about the teams. Or anything you want to discuss about, the team, Atkins, maybe some extension talks, because I covered that in today's video. Who you think could get back into the extension ring, or do you think, or who do you think we should extend? Because I kind of made the case today that I think Bo Bichette's the guy that they extend first.
Yeah, I think that was a very interesting conversation. Obviously, great job on the video today, Nick. Shout out to you for holding it down, man. Go check that out, guys, if you haven't already. But yeah, and I do want to talk about the extensions, and it's too bad that I couldn't be there. I mean, had a really long night at work, so I decided to pack it in for the video today, just so I could be here for this stream right now. But yeah, the extension conversation was something that I definitely wanted to discuss with you, Nick, and kind of upset now that we're talking about it that I wasn't able to be there. But
We'll have another one.
Yeah, we'll have another one. That's for sure. And I'm right there with you on the extension. I think Bo is the guy that you extend first, and Vladdy, you got to wait. You got to wait out these 2 years. If he prices himself out of Toronto, so be it. I mean, that's a good thing. That means that he's overperforming and that he's leading you to a place where you want to be. So you wait, and you wait to see how he performs these next 2 seasons. And when it comes to Bo, I think he's as consistent as they come. He's gotten better year in, year out defensively. Obviously, you wish the base running was a little bit better. You wish he stole a few more bases at the shortstop position, but his bat is elite, and that's what makes him a top 30 player, top 40 player, in my opinion. He's good. I mean, he's a very good player. He's just got to keep it going, and he's very consistent. You know, I don't know what other word to use for Bo Bichette, but consistent. I mean, sign him to a long-term deal. You know he's going to be up there in the league leaders of hits. You know that he's going to, have his hot streaks, his cold streaks as well. And he seems to me that he wants to be a leader on this ball club. He doesn't know how to do it yet. He's not quite there yet when it comes to leadership, but you could tell that losing hurts him and it pisses him off. And I don't get that same vibe from Vladimir Guerrero Jr. So I think Bo is he a franchise player? Not exactly sold yet, but I think he's a guy that you can definitely extend and someone that would not hurt your organization if he were to stick around for the long haul.
So I mentioned Matt Chapman is going to be asking Springer term and money at 6 years, $150 million. I don't know if he gets that amount of years. I mean, maybe. I think a final landing spot for Springer. Someone mentioned Berger and Rose can handle third, Biggio and Schneider second. Go save the money somewhere to sign 2 big bats. I tend to agree with that. I mean, we need an outfielder, big bat. It's not like Bellinger would be. I mean, maybe Relvis Martinez starting at third and then Cody Bellinger in left field. Is that the dream?
Yeah.
With Jorge Soler as a DH / platoon, and then have someone else play center. Is this what our dream is for this offseason? Because we could also go over, what is our goal for this offseason going forward? Peter, if you had to pick 2 players, is it Soler and Bellinger, or would you rather get a bullpen guy? What's your ideal offseason here? Because everyone always asks.
Does Hicks count?
You can throw that in there. Yep.
Or does he count, or does he not count in the hypothetical that we're talking about?
I think he would count, but maybe do a position player and a pitcher.
All right. Well, then I would probably go with Jorge Soler and Jordan Hicks, and I would throw a bag at Cody Bellinger as well. What do you have to lose?
Yeah,
what do you have to lose if you're the Blue Jays? I mean, obviously he's going to be looking for a long-term deal here, but this is a make it or break it 2 years for you, and you got to give it a shot. So do it.
Yeah.
Just do it.
I'm going to ask the chat. I meant to. Someone said no Soler, no Bellinger, Relvis, and Berger. That's putting a bit too much faith into your prospect guys making a big impact. I do think anyone who would want Springer, $25 million for 2020 guy, bringing Hicks back would be wise. Yeah, I don't think he wants. I saw some rumblings about him wanting to start, which is interesting, and go to somewhere where he can, be a starter rather than a bullpen. Trade Varsho. I'll ask the chat this question, and you can check out our video from last night if you didn't see it. Type yes or no. Are you happy with the Varsho trade? I know we did this a couple streams ago. I'm curious to see if it's changed. We actually got a lot of support on that video. Type yes or no if you would be happy, or if you're happy with the Varsho trade at this point. Peter, we already know our point on this, but I mean, in hindsight, I think it was a fine trade. However, it's a bit worse now because I don't think the Jays would. I don't think the Diamondbacks would trade Moreno and Gurriel for Varsho in hindsight, but.
Yeah, we got another caller here, Nick, so we'll get to him.
I'd be open to a Vladdy trade. We can get a big return. Hello, Jays fans. What's up, Patrick? Hit the like button if you guys are new. Shout out everyone in here. It means a lot to us. We got a caller coming in. If you want to call in and let your thoughts be known, then go ahead and hop in.
Huh?
You're in.
Hey, hello. Is Mike? How's it going?
You betcha.
Hey, Mike.
How you doing, Mike?
I'm good. How are you, boy?
Doing good. Doing
great. Where are you from? Where are you
I'm
calling
living in Lloydminster, Alberta.
Nice, nice.
from? Oh, okay. All right.
What do you got on your
I've
mind,
been
Mike?
following the Jays forever. I used to be an Expos fan, but we all know what happened there.
Yeah, yeah.
I would
it's-
have been an Expos fan too. I'm from Montreal, but unfortunately
Yeah.
they left town when I was 4 years old, so I never got the chance.
And they had a good team, and then they had a strike. They would have won it all
Yeah,
that year.
I've
Yeah.
heard all about it. I've heard all about it. My dad still doesn't watch baseball to this day because of that. So
Is that right?
no, he watches, but he's bitter. He's bitter over it, and I understand why. I've read up on it, and not a great situation. But it's the Blue Jays channel, Mike. I'm a Blue Jays fan
Yeah,
now.
the Blue Jays got a smart.
What's on your mind? What's on your
Well,
mind?
they're going to have some dead weight here real quick. Like Kikuchi, he's only got one more year,
True.
and then he's going to want money. And this past year, I think he smartened up a bit, and his trade value went up.
Okay.
He's still not a really, really good pitcher. Like he chokes under pressure. So I'd put a package of Kikuchi, Pearson, and Manoah together and see what you can get. Just see what you can get for them, right?
What would you
Because
want?
I think
what would be
Manoah's
the
toast.
ideal return? What would be the?
I think
ideal
Manoah's
return for
toast.
you? I can see why you would say that. I'm not ready to close the book on him just yet. But who would you want the Blue Jays to trade for?
Well,
putting
just
together
see
this
what you can
package,
get,
but-
right? See what you can get. Because what's
Okay.
Kikuchi making? He must be making at least 15 or 20 million.
12.
Well, yeah, so
12
pretty close,
for
yep.
Kikuchi.
Oh,
12.
well, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never knew that. And then we need a left fielder.
We do. We do.
And then you got Biggio. He can give the boys a break. And there's got to be somebody in the minors
Yeah.
that can come up and play the odd game in the outfield that can hit. Even if it's only like if they play 2 or 3 games a month, just to give the boys a rest, right?
Yeah. Left fielder's the
And
big
then you
hole right
got them
now.
other 2 young fellas down there. Try them at third base.
Yeah, Arelvis.
I mean,
yeah,
there's nothing out on the market for that.
it's true.
Unless
And
you
there's a
want to bring
couple of
Matt
them boys
Chapman
that can
back.
punch the ball. So,
You want to bring Matt Chapman back?
no,
I agree.
No.
not after last year, man. Like, ever since he got here, he was going downhill slowly but surely.
Yeah,
It's true.
Injuries, unfortunately, for Matt Chapman. He had that hip surgery the offseason that he did come to Toronto and just didn't look the same since.
No, that
unfortunate.
threw him off,
We
I
got
think.
damaged goods. We got damaged
Yeah,
goods.
well,
That's
we
good.
all get married sooner or later. No,
Thanks
then
for
I
the call,
think
Mark. Thank you.
their infield is going to be pretty set because Barshow, he came from a different league. Did he not come from the National
He
League?
did. He did. Yep.
From Arizona.
Yeah,
that's
it
right.
takes a while to get used to the pitching and
a good-
everything,
that's a
right?
good point.
I think anyway.
No, definitely. We've seen that a lot.
And he definitely had pressure on him.
Yeah, it was
for
clean
what
up.
the
Clean up
Jays
to
give
start
up.
the year. Clean up to start the year. Clean up hitter.
Yeah, I'd even be interested in taking a shot at Gurriel if you can get him like for 3 years only.
It's an interesting. He's a left fielder.
Yeah, and he's a good one.
Yeah.
And he can hit.
Mhm.
And he can play the field too. Like he's got a good arm on him.
He does have a great arm. That's an interesting
Got a
one.
cannon.
Let me ask the.
Yeah,
Thank you for calling.
And then
in, though.
even if you only keep him for 2 years, if it's not working out, trade him. Don't leave these guys walk for jack shit, man. That's the problem they're
Oh,
having.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
too
we
many of
said
them
it.
going.
We said it on the last video that we did, Mike, that Gurriel was the real heartbreaker to lose in that trade just because the Jays were missing that big time bat all season long. Now, I'm not saying he's a superstar hitter or anything, but he is someone that you can put in your middle of the order and he can produce for you. And the Jays they didn't have that this year. But,
Yeah. And Hernandez even was a pretty good player.
Yep.
But
Yeah,
I mean, them guys
Hernandez
were
is another
clowning
guy
around
that-
in the dugout too much. Something had to be done. And obviously, they must have got spoken to over it. For sure they did. I know they did.
Yep.
Yeah, but they had
But they
no
just
fun
didn't
this
change
year.
because
they
they're-
looked like they weren't having any fun this year, and I think that ultimately cost them. So
Yeah. But what it is
I don't
these
know.
are
You
kids,
gotta
eh?
find
They're
the balance.
24. They're 24,
Right.
25 years old. They don't
Yeah.
have to work another day in their life. They've made enough money already to live on for the rest of their life.
Yeah, and hopefully they can figure it out. But thank you for the call, Mike. We appreciate it, and it was good
All
chatting
right,
to you.
boys, have a good one.
Thank you. You too.
All right.
All right.
Thank you to Mike.
Mike
Thank
with
you to Mike.
The big call there. That's interesting. Would any of you guys be interested in bringing Gurriel back? I never really thought about Gurriel. I don't really think they would after everything that's happened.
I
But
would go.
it'd
I
be
would go
interesting.
for a pure power guy. Like
Yeah.
Soler would be the number one guy for me, and then Teoscar Hernandez. If I were to bring back any former Blue Jay, it would be him, not Gurriel. But I think Gurriel is worse in the field than Teoscar Hernandez is. So
Yeah, they're both
it
pretty.
doesn't fit the Blue Jays mold.
They're both pretty horrible. They're both pretty bad. I take Lourdes back at 3 years, $50 million. It's expensive, Lucky. Teo's trash in the field. He's DH at best. I take him back in a heartbeat. They're nothing but smiles this year, laughing it up with opposing teams. No grit, no competitive fire, no old school mentality. Interesting. Yeah, it was. It's maybe too far to one side compared to what we had back in 2022. I miss
You got to
2021.
find that happy medium.
I take Lourdes over Teo. That's another question whether you'd rather. How about Didi? What are you talking about? Didi
Gregorius?
Oh, shot. What about Drury from LA Angels for second base? That's the guy I'd actually be interested in. I saw a few people talk about that. He's very good. He's figured something out since he left Toronto. He had a 5 defensive run save last year. He hits very, very well. He's familiar with the Blue Jays to a degree. I'd be interested in trading for him, and it wouldn't cost much, I don't think, to get him from the Angels. Maybe a prospect or two. But
Of course, he figured it out once he left Toronto.
yeah,
Why wouldn't he?
Exactly. That's how it
Why
usually
wouldn't
goes.
he?
I don't think Lourdes and Teo will be back because they are Vlad's buddies. Lourdes is a great arm. Yeah.
I mean, I don't think the goal of the Blue Jays front office is to make Vladdy miserable. Let's get that out of the way. I don't think they want him to be dogging it out there on the field. They want him to reach his full potential. And if you got to let him have fun to do that, then I guess it's a bullet that you got to take if you're the Blue Jays. We got another caller here.
Exactly, Spike.
Matt,
Matt.
I'm going to give you a call right now. Be on standby. Matt wants to talk about the direction of team identity. So That's what we'll talk about, I'm pretty sure. How you doing, Matt?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing good, Matt.
Good, thanks.
Oh, am I on air here?
You are, Matt.
Yes,
you are.
Yeah, what's on your mind?
Oh, well, I just wanted to say hi. I watch you guys all the time. I'm out from the West Coast. Been a Jays fan for a long time. And it was a pretty frustrating year. I think everyone feels that way.
Yeah, it was brutal.
One thing I just wanted to say, I'll do a very short little rant here, and then just kind of give you guys a question, what you think there. Like, obviously, I think the biggest thing is, I watch a lot of other podcasts and other YouTubers, and I think a lot of people are on the money with where the Jays are, but really not happy with the front office. I mean, it's not like, we all know what happened in the press conferences and what Atkins and what Shapiro said, but they're all talking about a 2-year window, and Below and Vladdy got that, and they blew the farm system, and they tried to surround the young guys with some veterans, and it didn't work. And let's face it, that Varsho trade that has sewered the Jays, and they guessed wrong on Kirk, and Kirk they thought might be a great bat, and he's a terrible base runner, and they guessed wrong, and they should have kept Moreno. And nothing against Varsho. He's a great kid. He has great hustle, but that was a poor trade, and they have no farm system, and they lost their identity. And they got rid of Gurriel and the home run jacket, and they have what was their identity? Like better on the bases, better defense, and you got to give credit to Atkins. He brought in great pitching, but he blew up the identity. And what do you think the Blue Jays' identity is? Are they just gonna go after free agents and blow any more farm prospects coming up? Like maybe Vladdy and Bo aren't the answer. Like maybe they need they're not going to get rid of Atkins, but if they don't get rid of them, like how many more years are they going to set back the Blue Jays? 7, 8 years? Like maybe they've already missed their window, and it's frustrating for a fan. And I just wanted to know what your guys' thoughts on that. Like, not a fan of the direction they went. They were a fun team to watch, even though their bullpen wasn't good a couple of years ago. And just wondering, like, they should be thinking rebuild, not bring it and waste a bunch of money on free agents. And let's face it, like, what did they do this year with free agents? They didn't do much surrounding some of their young guys. They got to let the kids play. And I think they need a little bit of rebuild, and I just wanted to know your thoughts.
I think there's a lot to unpack there. I think regarding the identity thing, I think I agree with you. They went specifically regarding the defense stuff, the base running, and they went, I think, too far in that direction. But ultimately, we know they did, because they obviously didn't succeed at all. They traded away Lourdes and Teoscar, but I think it was a necessary change. Just they did it a bit too far. The Varsho thing, I'll leave that. I'll leave that up to the air. We made a video on that. I still stand by. I think it'll be a fine trade in the long run. It was horrible last year, and Moreno's looking really, really good right now. But it is a bit of a tough situation. I think that. I mean, they're not going to rebuild over the next 2 years just because they have Vladdy and Boba, but after those years, they might be forced into a rebuild after that. Peter, I don't know if you have any thoughts on that.
Yeah, I still like the trade as well. And we've been on record saying this multiple times, Matt, that the Blue Jays dealt from a position of strength. And I know Kirk didn't have a good year, but his walk percentage was still the same. His strikeout percentage was still the same. So all the peripherals were there. Obviously, we wish he hit for a little bit more power so he didn't have to run the bases as frequently. But he was an all-star, and he was a near 300 hitter the year prior. And he's got that ability in him. And I think you're also underrating his defensive ability as well. He's miles better defensively than Gabriel Moreno is. Maybe
I don't
not
know about
when it
that.
comes to,
I don't know about that.
Maybe not when it comes to throwing the ball. Not when it comes to throwing the ball, but when it comes to calling a game
and framing,
and framing pitches and stealing strikes for his pitcher. I mean, Moreno was among some of the worst in the first half of baseball. Obviously, he's going to get better with time. I think he's going to be a very good player in the long haul for a long time for the Arizona Diamondbacks. And now, obviously, he's catching lightning in a bottle. So everyone is crapping on the trade because he's hit 3 home runs in whatever.
And Varsho had a bad year.
5 playoff games. And Varsho had a bad year. But he's going to move to center field next year. He's going to play elite Gold Glove defense, maybe even Platinum Glove defense over there. So that's already a check mark in my book. He's going to have a bounce back season offensively. He showed the ability to hit 27 home runs in Arizona, which is a pitcher-friendly ballpark. Then he comes to Toronto, which is a hitters-friendly ballpark, and he struggles. I think he had a lot of pressure on him coming into the season. He's still a young guy. It was only his second full season in the major leagues. So we got to give him as much time as we would have given Gabriel Moreno to develop into the player that we thought he was going to be. I think it's going to work out fine as a trade. I think the Blue Jays still have a very good catching tandem, and now they upgraded their outfield by trading for Dalton Varsho. So I think patience is the key here, and we got to wait. We got to wait a little bit more before calling the trade of a total failure, Matt. But that's just my opinion. I appreciate your opinion, and I could see why the fan base is frustrated with the way that Varsho played this year.
Yeah, no, I agree with you guys. To be quite honest, I have nothing against Varsho. I like him. It's obviously his bat wasn't very good.
Yeah.
But I think the biggest thing is Kirk's performance and Kirk's speed is really magnified in the deal, especially what Moreno is doing.
You're exactly right. It makes the trade look
it's not
10
so much
times
about
worse.
it's not so much about Varsho. It's more about what I think they guessed wrong. I think they should have traded away Kirk, and they should have kept Moreno and Jansen together. That's just my opinion. And I think, like the whole thing is, look what Baltimore's doing. They brought up their young guys, and they didn't deal them away. And that's what the Jays kind of have done in the last couple of years. And it didn't pan out. And I think some of the moves, and they talk about that body of work that Atkins done, it's showing like poor results.
Yeah.
And it is what it is.
I agree with the thing is, I mean, yeah, you're right. Now, we wouldn't have got Varsho for Alejandro Kirk, but you could have traded Kirk for something else because his value was high at that time, and that might be the thing. But again, let's also keep in mind that if Danny Jansen can stay healthy, he's better than both Moreno and Kirk I can almost guarantee it, for the next 3 years. It's just a matter of if Danny Jansen can stay healthy. And Jansen was hurt this year, so we saw a lot of Heineman, which makes the trade seem worse. Alejandro Kirk had a horrible year, and he clogged up the bases, and Varsho hit a pretty poor, average OPS alongside Moreno, who had a decent year. He hit like 8% better than league average with good arm, bad other peripherals defense, but he struck lightning in a bottle for the playoffs. So I think it looks a lot worse now because a lot of things happen. But after next year, I think if Kirk gets back to even a shell of himself and Varsho hits a shell of himself, I think will be at least in the more even side of the trade, because as much as the Lourdes Gurriel thing hurt that trade, he was leaving anyway after the following year. The Jays had no intention of re-signing him. Maybe now they try to go back and re-sign him, but I don't know. It's a big mess, and I agree with you that the Kirk thing really makes it made it worse. We had to see Tyler Heineman play however many games, 30 or something like that.
If Danny Jansen plays 100 games next season or 95 games, if he catches 95 games, I don't think anyone's going to be talking about Moreno come season's end.
Especially if Varsho hits decent.
I don't understand the argument saying that we know Kirk is a bad base runner. We knew that already. I mean, he's been a bad base runner.
Whoa!
Oh, James. Thank you, James. Wow, I got to interrupt myself.
One sec,
over
Matt.
there.
One sec here. We got a super chat from James. $100 with no message, James.
Wow.
Matt,
well, James, thank you.
Is there anything you want to say, James, about this trade?
Really
Do you like the trade, James? We appreciate that. I've seen you in the chat, and that's I don't know. It means a lot. James in here. James, thank you.
Wow.
I don't know what to say. I'll throw up the emote there twice for you, Matt. You're good vibes in here. We got a donation with you in the.
Is James a new?
It's all you guys.
I don't know if he's a new subscriber. I haven't seen him in the chat too much. I saw him today. Maybe it might be James, whatever it is. Thank you so much. Welcome if you are new, and we appreciate that a bunch. It means a lot.
Thank you.
He hasn't said anything, so what a baller. What a baller. Maybe he's hating on our Moreno call and just wanted us to shut up about the trade. Whatever it is. Go ahead.
I got one more quick question for you guys, and I'll pretty much I got to hang up and take care of my kids here.
Sure.
I just wanted your guys' opinion. Wanted your guys' opinion on. We've all, I've listened to you guys and other podcasts and whatnot. We all know the thing about Schneider and the coaching staff and the analytics. Clearly the Jays had a real down year. Almost except for maybe Bo. Everyone regressed. What are your guys' thoughts? Like I know Schneider is back. I'm not saying that Schneider's the problem, but what are you guys' thoughts on that? Or, do they just got to, maybe clear the house of the hidden strategist, the hidden coach? Are they just going to play the patient game and hope that everyone bounces back? But I mean, it did not look good for how the whole team regressed. Like something caused that. And I don't think that you could put that on. I know they say you got to let the players play, but clearly when everyone is regressing, let's face it, Springer is a little bit older. Same with Merrifield. There's got to be a little bit of accountability on the coaching. Just want to know your guys' thoughts, moving ahead. Or are they just going to hope that it all works out?
I think I'll throw it over to you, Peter, in a second here. But me and Peter have the same thought on this, I think, because we've discussed it so many times. I think the hitting coaches are going to go. I think they're going to change that up, even if it's just for the premise of doing it. Clearly, their approach didn't work. They didn't. Everyone, for the most part, regressed. We had a couple of, decent performance, but yeah, almost everyone regressed. And I think sometimes, let's be honest here, we all watch baseball often. Baseball is weird. There's years where it's weird. The Braves just got swept. It was just a weird year for the Jays. Not an excuse, but I think there's no doubt in my mind that Kirk does better next year. Verso does better next year, and Vladdy. He has some of the best peripherals in the game. Yes, his approach looked flawed. Yes, you can hate on him all you want. I think there's no way he hits below an 800 OPS next year. So I think it's a mix of getting too many voices. We've discussed that a bunch. So getting new people in there, especially in the hitting side of things, and then go ahead and just get someone else in for the coaching. And I think everyone else will naturally get back into their hitting abilities there. I think that's the answer. That being said, it was really weird last year, but sometimes that's just baseball, man. Baseball's a weird sport.
Shout out to Blue Jays today. They're saying Guillermo Martinez shouldn't.
I agree.
Be on the
Someone
team.
has to go. Someone has to go at a premise.
I don't know if this is Nick or Adam. Shout out to you guys.
Yes.
Go check out Blue Jays today if you haven't already. Good content over there. And we also did
check
a
out our
collab with them.
I
wasn't able to be there. I'll be there for the next one. But yeah, shout out to Blue Jays today. Shout out to James as well.
For the 100.
Thank
James.
you again.
He
for
said
the
he is a new
donation,
viewer, James. So you guys are great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, thank
James.
you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. It means a lot.
Glad.
Thank you, Mike, or Matt. Sorry for hopping on. He left, but yeah, thank you, Matt, for that.
Thank you, Matt.
Some good conversations there.
I'll answer. What was his question again?
The hitting. Everyone regressed. What are your thoughts on that? Do you think it's the hitting department's fault, or do you think they're gonna go, or what's the?
I think you got to shake something up. You can't fire the players. You got to fire coaches. So I mean, I don't think the approach was good from anyone this year. Really, obviously Brandon Belt and Whit Merrifield to a certain degree. Kevin Kiermaier, Danny Jansen. Those are guys that have been in the league a long time and know what they're good at and know how to succeed. But a lot of the young guys, it feels like they were, kind of transformed as hitters, and I didn't really like that. So yeah, I think we're gonna have bounce backs. And you said no way Vladdy hits below an 800 OPS. He's got to be close to an 880,
Yeah, no, I
900 for
agree.
me. If the Jays want to do anything,
I agree.
he can't just be a good hitter. He's got to be a great hitter, and I think he's got that in him. You said the peripherals are right there, and I agree with you. And he looks good at times. Other times he just doesn't look too great. But we haven't seen that sustained run from Vladdy over the past couple of seasons where he's just tearing the cover off the ball for 10 plus games. I want to see that next year. I want to see dominant stretches for a long time out of Vladdy. And I think he's got it in him. I think Bo is going to have another good year. It's make or break for the Jays again. It's make or break, and they got to get better. George Springer has to be better as well. Enough with the being a league average hitter, you got to be 20 to 30% above league average. And that's what the Jays are paying Springer for. That's what he's got to be. So their top guys have to be their top guys, and they got to play like other teams as top guys. That's the only way they're going to accomplish anything.
And I think it comes back. Vlad has all the peripherals of being elite hitter and just wasn't this year. It was. Thanks for the call, Pete. James says I follow you every day. James Norris, thank you so much again for the 100. That it means a lot and it helps us. Thank you. Don't know what to say. Thank you so much.
Thanks,
for that.
Mike.
I don't think
Thanks,
Vladimir is a
James.
good player.
Really
Maybe average
appreciate
at best. I would trade him. I see so much stuff about people trading. It just seems like the worst time. Tenny's DH.
And the grass isn't always greener. The grass isn't always greener on the other side.
I mean, if we trade Vladdy and he goes back to like a high chance that he goes back to a very, very elite hitter, we're looking, you will come in here and hate on Ross Atkins for making that trade. So I mean, at the end of the day, their job is really, really rough.
Yeah. I think we're gonna wrap it up soon.
If any of you guys have any final call-ins, text Peter now before we wrap it up. A couple more minutes and we'll wrap it up. It's been a very, very great live stream. A lot of good conversations today. A lot of stuff to talk about. James, thank you again for the donation. Shout out Jace today, tuned in. Shane, like always, tuning in for the phone call. Thanks for the call, P. Michael Goodridge said. People are agreeing with what you said, Peter, about Vladdy. I think it's true. I think he'll hit 850. I have all the faith in the world in Vladdy, even though most people don't right now. Shane showing off the email to becoming a channel member. Question: what is the minimum amount of external player pieces that need to be added, and how many external or internal call-ups will take place? Internal calls take place. I think we have 3 or 4 external pieces, 2 internal call-ups. Yeah, Peter, we can answer that. If anyone wants to quickly call in before we wrap up, and if not, we'll wrap up. But I think the answer is what you said. Like probably 1 or 2 external, 1 or 2 internal.
Yep. I think it's going to be that way as well. Obviously, Soler and Bellinger are 2 guys that we have been clamoring for over the past couple of weeks, and I think they're realistic possibilities. Don't think they'll cost the Jays too much. So those 2 guys are the 2 that I have circled when it comes to off-season additions externally. And internally, I'm thinking of Relvis Martinez and maybe Addison Barger to come up. Maybe on the pitching side, Ricky Tiedemann later on in the year. But apart from that, I can't see anything too drastic happening with this team. I think a lot of guys are just going to step into everyday roles like Davis Schneider and whatnot.
Yeah.
What do you think, Nick?
Yeah, I think there's a good chance of Relvis. Not Solari's not the guy. Shane, he's a power guy though. He's a power guy. Like, yeah, he doesn't play great defense and his WAR isn't the best, but like just having a power guy in your lineup in general would just, the team has the defense, it has the base running, it has everything you need. You just need. They even have, the average and contact to a degree. Like they weren't a horrible hitting team regarding that front, but not Soler. Leah saying, when do moves usually get made? November, December? December is usually late November, mid-December, and then onwards. Usually before/during the winter meetings is when a lot of the moves go down. But we could see a move as soon as the World Series ends. We could see a move. It completely depends. And I suspect the coaching staff, if there's any changes going to be made, it'll happen probably once the World Series ends and once free agency starts. But I think the dream is Bellinger. He kind of encompasses the power, the defense. Everything the team wants. He's like kind of not similar to Varsho, but they're both very good defenders. They both play the outfield well, and they can both hit for power. Any Collins, Peter, or are we going to wrap it up?
You want to go with one more here?
Yeah, let's
We
do
got Nick Rudolph. Call him
Let's do
Old
one more.
Stamps. That's what he said his nickname is. So, Nick, gonna give you a call here.
Last
Be
one
on
of the day.
standby. Nick's gonna be the last caller of the day. So shout out to each and every one
Thank
of
you,
you guys.
Mike.
Shout out to James. Once again. How you doing, Nick? What's up?
I'm doing very well. How are you guys?
Doing very, very good.
Doing
Nick, you
great.
have a good name, Nick. You have a good name.
I appreciate that. I share that interest in yours, Nick.
Yes, sir. What's on your mind?
Well, I feel like with the failed experiment on how the Jays have tried to go out and sign and trade for all these big names, if they don't and just kind of let the farm system bloom and blossom and have the guys come up, it could be more beneficial than going out and spending that money on the team.
Yeah. That's the other side of this. It's either, and I think realistically, you might be right, and it's just hard to gauge that. I think, like you said, and like we've been saying, I think a mix of them is probably the best bet, 'cause we don't want to be the Yankees. And what the Yankees have been doing, I mean, they've been doing. I mean, they called up Volpe and Jason Dominguez and things like that, but they're, they signed a bunch of old guys that didn't work. Then they called up their young guys borderline too early, that didn't work. So they're putting themselves in a bad spot. And the Jays specifically, Nate Pearson, we called up too early. He, boomed in a bad way. Alek Manoah, you didn't really call him up too early, but he pitched too much and then he got hurt. So I think they're letting their guys marinate a bit more in the minors. And I think signing a guy like Bellinger, I think with Bellinger, it depends a lot on the player. If you're talking about 1-year-old rentals, I completely agree. Like even like a Whit Merrifield type, when you kind of make a trade with 1 year left in his contract, obviously we traded for him with 2, but I think they want to get a guy who has a bit of term, who's not super old, and who can kind of blossom with the younger core rather than just be a stopgap type of guy. Because at this point, I feel like if we're going to go with a stopgap type of player, Peter, I don't know how you feel about it. I'd rather just let Aurelvis Martinez come up, unless it's an elite stopgap guy. But at that point, like, I don't know, there's not many of those out there. So I think I think you're right on the money. I just think they need to find the guy like Bellinger, call him up, and still have Aurelvis at third and doing a mix. But you got a good point there.
I do agree. I think if we were to pick up more utility-based guys, like when we signed Brandon Belt, he was going to be a first base DH. We had Vlad already stuck at first. We said Matt Chapman, and then we had a logjam up the middle of our kind of contracted guys who were going to stay there. If we signed a few guys, not necessarily a Jorge Soler who's going to clog up that DH spot, but somebody who could maybe flow through the lineup, play infield, play in outfield, just like Cody Bellinger could. He's a big lefty bat. Losing Brandon Belt was likely retirement. I do agree with you guys there, but I feel like positional utility would be more beneficial for the team than maybe like a big name kind of thing.
It's a neat point.
But we saw that this year though, Nick. We saw a lot of guys that could play multiple positions. I mean, Whit Merrifield could play everywhere around the diamond. Kevin Biggio, Santiago Espinal, Davis Schneider when he came up to a certain degree. And the Jays just lacked power. They lacked consistency in their lineup. And I think that has a lot to do with guys just not being everyday players that were forced into everyday roles. If you listen, we all listened to the Mark Shapiro press conference, we all listened to the Ross Atkins press conference. They were very clear that these 2 years are make it or break it for the Toronto Blue Jays. If they don't accomplish something in these next 2 years, they're having a lot of players come off the books. So you got to do whatever you can and add external pieces as much as you can to add to this current core. You got to go all in right now, because right now, this current team, if you bring up a bunch of rookies and let them play, team's not going anywhere. I'm sorry to break it to you guys, but if Aurelvis Martinez, if you're relying on him every day, if you're relying on Davis Schneider every day to lead your ball club offensively, you're doomed. You're doomed. So you need another couple of big-time players out there on the free agent market. I agree with you that it's great to call up prospects and let them really develop with the rest of the young core, but there might not be a young core to develop with in a couple of years' time. So it's going to be their team if the Jays can't accomplish anything in the next 2 years. And now it's time for them to go all in.
Fair enough. I can agree to that.
Yeah, I think it just, like, even from a front office standpoint, like, they need to win. Their job is on the line to a degree. So I think maybe from, our perspective, it might be better to call up the young guys. It might even be the right decision. It's just that they are probably just going to try to strive for those guys who are going to help them win, because their job is going to be to win for the next 2 years. And if they don't win another playoff game, they're going to get they're going to get fired. And maybe Brandon Jury's a guy who can play multiple positions and hits a lot of home runs. Maybe that's a guy we could look into. But thank you for the call, Nick. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on, guys.
No worries.
Thank you, Nick. Take care.
All right. Peter, hey, really
All right.
enjoying the work you guys put
Yeah.
in. All right.
Thank you, Bob. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Bob. We appreciate that. All right, guys. This has been a fun one. Saturday day and Saturday afternoon. Lots of stuff for you guys to watch. No baseball today, which is a bit weird. Big gap in between the ALDS and the ALCS, but we appreciate
Is there
all
no
your
baseball today?
I don't
There's
believe
no
so.
baseball?
I believe it's tomorrow. Correct me if I'm wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not wrong. Nope, just checked. Tomorrow.
Yeah, no, it is tomorrow.
It starts tomorrow.
At least there's hockey today. For any if any of you are Montreal Canadiens fans out there, check out the game tonight. Connor Bedard versus Montreal Canadiens.
All right, guys. Oh, Shane's always with the buzzer beater. Always with the buzzer
beater, Shane.
Shane,
Buzzer
thank you
beater.
so much for the 5, and thank you, James, for the 100. Shane, love having you in here and discussing with you. Shout out to everyone in here. It's been a phenomenal stream. Lots of call-ins today, and we got a lot of your input going. Hopefully we'll have another one over the coming week or so. Thanks for the stream, boys. There's a 5. Thank you, Shane. We appreciate it. And
Thank you, Shane.
No ball.
Appreciate it.
No ball. Everyone enjoy the rest of their weekends. We'll have probably 1 or 2 videos out for you guys tomorrow. And there's a lot of stuff to talk about still. We just got to keep it positive until hopefully a big move comes soon. So enjoy your hockey, enjoy your baseball, enjoy whatever you're watching, your boxing, whatever's on the go. And football's tomorrow. So if you guys watch that, enjoy that. And enjoy our videos that are going to be dropping tomorrow and over the coming days. So thank you guys for your support. We're getting close to 10,000 subscribers, guys, and that'll be a crazy milestone. So thank you.